Ricky here, and you're watching Ricky Talks Shop. Welcome to part 3 of our Ultimate Les Paul mod video series. This is my favorite part because we're making our brand new pickups for the guitar. Here's our neck pickup. I've already got done. Now we're working on our bridge pickup, and I want to show you this process. And if you get on, if you're interested in doing this yourself, if you get on Pinterest or YouTube, you can find some really great instructions to make a winding machine like this out of an old sewing machine or like even a handheld drill or a drill press. So you don't have to spend a lot of money on a machine like this. So right now I've got my bobbin, and it's just held on here. This is two-sided carpeting tape. And you really probably can't see the wire, but I've got my wire started on the bobbin. And we're just going to go ahead and wind the coil. You'll notice with my hand where I'm guiding the wire by hand. I could either lay the wire on the coil nice and even, or I can jump it around, which I'll probably do. That's called a scatter wind or scatter winding. That's a term you'll see when you're dealing with higher end pickups. And the difference that makes on a pickup is it really affects the internal capacitance of a coil, and that affects your super high frequencies that are even outside of human hearing range. But we still use those frequencies to get directional cues, and that's how we can tell like which side of a stage a guitar is coming off of. A lot of it is those super high frequencies. So a scatter wound pickup will have more of those very high frequencies, and it'll typically sound more open, a little more airy sounding, to where if you wanted your pickup to be tighter and more focused, you'd do a more careful, even winding pattern. And it does take a little practice when you're doing this to get a feel for your wire tension, how to hold the wire. It's a lot of trial and error at first. Once you get going though, it's pretty easy. We are working with butyrate bobbins here. Normal ABS plastic bobbins are a little more durable. These, if you get your windings too tight, it's pretty easy to warp the ends of the bobbins. So it's just about getting a feel for what you're doing. Alright, we'll go ahead and we'll start winding. This coil we're going to go to right around 5,500 turns of wire. And I'll stop every 1,000 turns or so and just get an idea what my coil is looking like. So here we go. You can see I'm just kind of jumping the wire around, getting that random winding pattern. And it is a little debatable how much difference it really makes. I know there's some pickup makers out there who insist that the winding pattern itself doesn't really have any notable effect. We believe it does here at Ricky Talk Shop. All right, we're 800, almost to our first 1,000. 1,000 turns, and I'm just looking to see my coil looks nice and even. If you're interested in having me make you a set of pickups, right now, just look me up on Facebook, Ricky Talks Shop on Facebook. Send me a message. I am working on getting a website and a web store up and running, but it takes time. These pickups, these are a full vintage PAF Replica. So they've got the unpolished magnets, they've got butyrate bobbins, enamel wire. These go for $115 a piece, and then covers are optional at $15 a piece. There's 2,000 turns. Looking nice and even still. Yeah, I'd be more than happy to make a set of pickups for you, and I really try to keep my prices competitive with what you would pay for a mass-produced, off-the-shelf part. And that's kind of my goal. I wanna give you a personalized custom shop experience for off-the-shelf money, and doing direct sales allows me to do that. It also allows me to build some really great relationships with some really great customers. If I make you a set of pickups, we can have a conversation about what gear you're using, what kind of stuff you play, what sound you're after. To me, that's the most enjoyable part of this job, is building those relationships with customers. So please feel free, drop me a line, ask some questions. More than happy to make you a set of pickups. I'll even say if you mention that you watch this video, I'll give you a 10% discount on your first set of Ricky Talk Shop custom wound pickups. And we are at 4,000. Still looking nice and even. Good looking coil. See, when I'm distracted and talking to you guys, I do this just perfect. Alright, and we've got about another, 2,000 winds to go, because we're going for just under 5,500, so 1,500 to go. Sorry, my brain's a little... Alright. Again, you can see I'm just jumping the wire around, getting that scatter wound effect. As soon as we're done with this, I'll show you how to assemble the pickup. I've already got the other coil done and wound, ready to go on there. $49, 5,000 turns. Alright, so we got another 500 turns of wire. It looks like I could put a little more at the top of the coil. Another thing I'm doing too is the two coils are wound with different numbers of turns of wire. And what that does, anytime you have a coil, as you increase the number of turns of wire, you lower the resonant frequency of that coil, and that means you're rolling off more high end out of that coil. So having the coils with two different numbers of turns of wire, that gives you a two different resonant frequencies, and it makes a little bit more of a complex sounding pickup. Again, though, if you want something that's tighter and more focused, then you can certainly match the two coils, and that'll give you that. 43, 54, 55. Alright, so we're a little over 5,500 turns of wire, and that coil looks perfect. Now we're going to wire it. Try to turn this so you can see what I'm doing. Now, anytime you're working with this enamel wire, so it's copper wire and it's enamel coated, and you can't solder directly onto it because of that coating, to where with a polyurethane or a poly wire, you can just solder because the heat of the soldering iron will burn the coating off. So this is a really fragile part of what we're doing, is I'm just scraping that coating off, and I'm exposing that copper so that we can solder our lead wire onto this coil. And here I've got ready to go just a little length of wire. I use black for the start of the coil and white for the finish. And we're just going to take that and we're going to wrap our wire where we've scraped off that coating. Just going to wrap that around there a bunch of times. And there we have that. Clean the tip on my soldering iron. And we're going to solder that lead onto the coil. Again, just be very careful. Too much heat, you can burn right through this wire. And there we have it. Alright, now we're going to take our narrow, I have two different sizes of coil tape. If you can see those, I'm going to take our narrow tape and I'm just going to put a strip of it over the coil. And this will go in between our lead that we just soldered and the rest of the wire on the coil, because we don't want to damage that. And that will just set right over there. And now we'll take another piece of tape and put over that to hold it in place. So there we go, that's taped onto our coil. We'll come to our other side, and this is the start of the coil here. I know you really can't probably see the wire. Again, I have to scrape off this enamel coating. You just have to be really, really gentle. This wire is smaller than a human hair. This is 42 gauge wire. And it's really easy to cut right through it. Or if you nick it, then it'll break when you pull on it. Again, same process. I'm just going to do a bunch of turns of this exposed wire around my lead. There we go. And again, clean my soldering tip real quick. And we'll solder that end on. And we're just going to pull that little bit of excess wire off of there. Same process on this side. We're going to put that out of the way. Put a piece of our narrow tape right directly on the coil, and that slides in between there. And then we'll take our magnet, and now first we have